Nice Micro Monday. Competitive online gaming with anti-cheat is opposed to free software. So on this channel we talk a lot about Linux, Arch Linux, specifically how to do things on Linux, how to set up your computer to be able to use Arch Linux for your everyday things and related things. But in general, I am not really passionate about Linux itself. I use Arch Linux because it is a practical choice, but I am more passionate about the concept of free software, how the freedom of using my own computer the way I want is provided to me through Linux. And in general, that's the angle I'm trying to take. But I know there are a lot of people who are less passionate about free software itself, but more into Linux or the so-called Linux ecosystem, whatever that would mean, or the Linux community, whatever those two words would mean, who are very much into gaming and don't really care about what kind of games they run. So a lot of people would be very enthusiastic about Steam, for example, how Valve makes it possible through Proton and other things like Wine, makes it possible so you can have Linux, your operating system, and still run video games that are these huge AAA titles for huge AAA game studios, and let's not get down on a rant on why we don't like those studios here. But people are generally excited that they can play those games on Linux, and one of the things many are excited about are the availability of anti-cheat software on Linux, because that was kind of one of the big points why some games could not be run on a Linux system, because those anti-cheat systems would need such a deep level of access to your software, to your operating system's kernel, that without this anti-cheat having a Linux version, it is just impossible to run the game on a Linux operating system, on a computer with the Linux operating system. And for me, I understand that. So I understand the technical points with that. I would never play a game like that on my personal computer for multiple reasons, and not having the time for that is just one of the tiny reasons for that. But in general, it is impossible to have to uphold these free software ideals if you want to play competitive online games which rely on anti-cheat. And I think so there are some people out there who kind of contemplating whether you could have free software anti-cheat for the kind of people like me who are very passionate about having free software and having which allows you to do on your computer whatever the hell you want, and not whatever the hell the companies who are writing the software want to do on your computer. But this is the main point, is because once you are playing a competitive online game where you have to somehow make sure that all the people are playing on a level playing field, which is, when you are playing against random people, you don't really have like a social pressure. When you're playing with only your friends, it's kind of, you just, if you are cheating somehow in the game, then, you have to bear the social consequences of that in your friend group. But once you are playing with random people over the internet, it is kind of the responsibility of the game manufacturer, the game company, to make the playing field as level as possible. And for that, actually, you have to go against what free software is, because the main concept of free software is that this is your computer, and whatever software is running on this, you should have full control over it. While in a competitive gaming environment, if you want to provide the level playing field, then actually the organizer of the competition, who is basically the people or the company who is making the game, they have to have the most deep access to your computer to stop you from cheating. It's kind of like putting the control from either the user, so user can do whatever they want, that's free software, and the user can only do what is legal in the game itself. And this is, of course, the thing that if it would only be gaming, then I would just tell you that, well, if you are passionate about free software but still want to play these AAA game titles for some mysterious reason, I guess, then you should just have a computer that is only a gaming computer, and then in which you don't do anything else but gaming, so you don't have to care about what data is being spied on your computer. Because once an anti-cheat has kernel level access to your computer, then you don't really know, like, whatever the hell it is doing with your files, for example, or whatever kind of access it has. It has access to everything. So you should have a gaming computer, and if Windows runs the games best, then you should just run Windows on that computer and just use it for nothing else, and separate your personal things to a computer which you preferably run with free software. And of course, I know life is not that easy, because no one has that, or not everyone has that amount of money that they could do that, but it's still, that would be one of the suggestions. The bigger problem is that it's not only these online competitive games that want to do this, but also if you have to take an exam, for example, on a computer, then the people who are responsible for keeping the exam fair and without cheating will also want to have this kind of access to your computer, and that is really, really not good, I guess. But that is a topic for another video. So if you have any contrary opinion to that, or if you have an idea how we could make a free software anti-cheat software, if you think it is not really theoretically opposed to free software, if you think that these two things can be somehow brought together, then why don't you tell me down there in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, give me a like, subscribe to the channel, or follow me on all my social media and other platforms that you can find down below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.